In the New York studio, I have a very special panel to discuss the two speeches, one by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which was about 17 minutes long, and then Imran Khan took the stage and spoke for 50-odd minutes. And what did they say and how does the world see it? Let's discuss that. With me is Puneet Aluwale, he's a Republican leader and business consultant. I have with me Vibhuti Jha, who is a political analyst and banker, Dr. Bharat Barai, chairman of the Indian American Cultural Center in Chicago, and Arvind Rajagopal, he's a professor of media studies at New York University. Good morning and good to have all of you here in the studio.
A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
So this speech was full of contrasts. Prime Minister Modi spoke about progress, peace, prosperity. He did not once mention Pakistan, which has become his style, it seems. He started with the summit in Vladivostok, where he stood next to the Russian president, spoke about terrorism without mentioning Pakistan, did the same again in Houston, spoke about terrorism, did not mention Pakistan, went to the United Nations General Assembly, spoke about terrorism, no mention of Pakistan, but there was no doubt what he's talking about, who he's talking about. And then you have Imran Khan, who goes on and on about Kashmir and how it's being radicalized and nuclear threats. How do you see this contrast and what does it tell about the speakers?
Well, first thing is I have to commend Prime Minister Modi's successful visit, and thanks to President Trump, both joining together and building synergies and really showing democracy in works and a role model for other nations. And I think that same message Prime Minister Modi took to the United Nations, which was more like a State of the Union speech, showing the soulful India and its rich heritage, and a lesson or a way forward for emerging economies and developing nations, what things they can do. At the same time, having the success under his tenure, highlighting that at the same time, telling on the world stage, this is what we stand for, and this is what we're going to lead with, which is not only peace and harmony, but with technology and development. And I believe the contrast there is that when you mention terrorism, where did you find the number one terrorist of the world who attacked our country in New York? Osama bin Laden. He was in Pakistan. So terrorism and Pakistan go, when you say terrorism, it's Pakistan. And I believe that one was the vision for a global, national, emerging, strengthening India. At the same time, his was a beaten old record of, well, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. Well, I'm sorry, everybody knows who you are. Your hand's been caught in the cookie jar, not one time, but many times. But more importantly, how you treat your minorities, especially the Mohajirs, the Baloch, the Pashtuns, the Hindus, the Sikhs, and the Christians in your country. And you're talking about, oh, well, and I respect the religion of Islam. In fact, I'm married to a Muslim. And the fact is that you don't have to tell the world. We all have grown up in a secular India where we respected everybody's religion. So you don't have to preach us on religion, but have to tell us what you're going to do in your backyard, in your neighborhood, in your home, and most importantly, how are you going to basically be a good, reliable partner to the world, and especially to India. So he has no issue really to stand on that, and don't beat about Kashmir, talk about Karachi, talk about Kabul, what you've done in terrorism in both these places.
In fact, Imran Khan started with an interesting preamble. He said that there are challenges back home, but I had to come here because there are very important issues to be raised at a platform like this. How do you see the contrast between the approach of the two leaders? One is offering solutions and talking about peace and progress, and the other is saying, well, climate change is a problem, but it's not because of us, it's because of the richer countries. Islamophobia is a problem because the West is involved. It's largely negative.
If you see the two leaders of their respective countries, you make a very distinct distinction. Here is Prime Minister Modi, who is not only a Prime Minister, but he's also performing a leadership role. And on the other hand, you have a Prime Minister of Pakistan who indulges in only two basic passion of his, blame and guilt. Jaise aapne bataya tha ki he's doing that everybody is to be blamed for their plight, and they are not responsible for anything. Now, if you have that kind of a mindset, I don't think even God can help you. Because you have to take responsibility for your actions. If you participated in something, you got to know what are the consequences of that going to be. And then look at Mr. Modi here. He set the agenda, the vision. In our work that we do, we always define leadership with two important elements, not characteristic. Good looks and tall and height and whipping something to get things done, that's not leadership. Leadership is all about creating a mood. And you refer to that, the positivity. A leader is an actual keeper and maker of the mood of the enterprise. Call that enterprise a family, call that enterprise a company, or a country, or the world. You set the vision, the agenda of hope, prosperity, positivity, where people look up to you for doing something. So what was Mr. Modi's 17-minute short speech all about? We have done these things in India. The world can do that in their places. Now that's something which nobody else has talked about. That is called the leadership role. And we Indians have a tendency of talking about our philosophy, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But Mr. Modi defined it in the International Solar Alliance Conference in Delhi when he said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, he gave a beautiful definition. One sun, one earth, one grid. Now that is something which one can easily understand. So now the world is one. Technology has brought us all together. So Pakistan's diatribe on terrorism, it is laughable. I mean, it is a pity that he was even given a platform to speak, especially when he threatened the world with Holocaust. That's something which is remarkably evident. We don't need a trial to prove that. He's on record. He's on record saying that we trained them. You may justify it by that we got manipulated by the West. Why the hell did you do that? Why the hell did you allow them to do that? Why did you become a beggar nation? So these are the things he's drawing parallel with the Indian scenario. He threatened India with a bloody Holocaust once this entire thing is lifted. If that is not incitement to violence by the leader of a country, he has to be pulled, he has to be reprimanded. If the world doesn't do that, right, they are failing in their responsibility.
Dr. Barai, we were talking earlier today and we were talking about what can be expected in the Prime Minister's speech. Will he make a mention of Kashmir? Will he talk about Article 370? It seems that the calculation on the Indian side has been that this we've always maintained is a domestic matter and there is no reason why we must raise it on a global platform. But as expected, the Pakistani Prime Minister has spent a considerable amount of time talking about Kashmir, and this seems to be a warped threat that there will be more radicalization in Kashmir now. There will be more people out to become terrorists and so on and so forth, and he has given a very warped sort of assessment of what's happening in the valley.
Ricky, Prime Minister Modi took the appropriate approach, high road. What's development, what we will do for improving the lives of the people of India. Yes, he mentioned about terrorism, which is a global threat, and unfortunately, we are in a bad neighborhood when it comes to Pakistan, and it's appropriate to mention that, but what the world can do about it is another thing. Now, Imran Khan, instead of talking about his country, how he is going to improve the education where half the children don't go to school, they go to madrasas. What is he going to do about the rights of women, freedom for them? What is he going to do about people of Balochistan, Pashtun? What is he going to do to take care of the blasphemy laws where people, just to settle their personal score, are being charged with blasphemy, beaten up, and before even the trial goes to the court, more than half of them are killed. He did not talk any of them. How are all the terrorists going into Afghanistan? How are they going into India? They are not dropping from moon. Pakistan has been doing this, recruiting them, training them, financing them, arming them, and infiltrating them in the neighboring countries. Where is the problem in Afghanistan coming from? All Taliban came trained by Pakistan. Same is in Kashmir. Is it going to change? I don't think so. They are running their economy around. People don't have milk, $2.50 per liter milk. Instead of talking about how he will improve the lives of people of Pakistan, all he talks is about 6 million Kashmiris, which he has no business talking about. He doesn't talk about 200 million of his own people. What is he going to do? And he's trying to instigate Islamophobia. Where does the Islamophobia come from? From them. They are the ones who are going around financing these terrorists, whether it's in England, whether it's in France, whether it's Spain, whether it's United States, and of course India, even Iran. So Pakistan is not taking any responsibility for all the evil thing that it does and just talks about Kashmir. Now maybe he will have some crowd that will listen to it, but most of the world will say, guys, straighten out your own tax, take care of your own people, and stop messing around in the neighboring countries.